Hi everyone! Welcome back to another video with me, Stephanie Canada, on my channel Backroom Finds. Now today we're going to be doing something a little different. There's this little thing going around. You might have heard of it. It might be the reason why we're all trapped inside. I did this video mainly because Dimity is the devil. Demonic. I'm trying to make a dress for my daughter out of a old dress, and well, it's going great. Yeah, so here we are. Instead, that was what was supposed to go up today, but between the fabric being evil and the world as it stands, went a little bit different direction with this one. I'm not here to start a controversy. I'm not here to bash anybody that is making them or not making them for whatever reasons that you have. I am saying that I chose to make some masks for a very dear friend of mine, and right now we're sort of inundated with all these articles of here's how you make this mask and this mask and this mask, and oh god, so much information. Be careful. Make sure that what you guys are making is what's needed. The CDC has recommended that people use bandanas and scarves. I mean, so really, it is better than that, but at the same time, below that recommendation, it says they don't really recommend the homemade masks. I'm doing this because I was specifically requested by a very dear friend of mine to do this. She's a nurse. They have little to no equipment. They're being asked to reuse one-time use items for days at a time. And the stock just isn't there to send to them. I know us crafters, we, at the instant the call is heard, we all whir up those sewing machines and go to town. I beg you guys, please check with your local hospitals to see, first off, if they need them. Second off, if they do even allow them, what type they allow. Because there's so many different patterns and recommended fabrics and all of this stuff out there that if you just make a giant stack of them, it could turn into the little mittens for koalas thing all over again. It's not that I'm telling you not to do it. It's that I'm really asking you, please do your research first for what your community needs. I made this specific pattern because my friend specifically wanted this mask. As opposed to making all these masks, feeling really great about yourself at the end of the day, taking them to the hospital or dropping them off, and then they don't get used. I'm just asking you guys, really, make sure that you know what your community wants so that you're making things that are actually going to be used. And we don't have to worry about all of these lovely things that we've made that doesn't just end up in the landfill, because that's really not the goal. And I know that's not where everyone's heart is. I know all of our hearts are in the right place. Come along and watch me attempt to sew these bad boys. Because, oh, trust me, I made mistakes. The materials that you'll need for this are 2 6-inch by 9-inch pieces of 100% cotton and 2 pieces of 7-inch elastic. For my version, I used 1/4-inch elastic. And of course, you always need your trusty sewing machine and coffee ready to go, at least for my projects. I put the 2 right sides of the fabric pieces together and then pinned them. Don't do that. Yes, put the right sides together, but do not waste your time pinning these. Then I began sewing halfway along one of the long sides of the material. In case y'all couldn't tell, my machine is extraordinarily old, so unfortunately that means occasionally I have to make sure my bobbin is working correctly. And I have to pet it and tell it it's pretty, because sometimes the motor doesn't like to work either. Now I take one of my pieces of elastic and insert it at a 45-degree angle into the corner and sew over top of it. The original video didn't have anyone backstitching over these sections, but I opted to, for extra strength. Then I continued sewing along the short end of the material and began the hunt for the elastic, because I still had pins in the silly thing. And again, I opted to backstitch over those ends of elastic just to make sure they had a little extra strength behind them. No, folks, I don't live in Utah. That is just how violently my machine shakes my table whilst sewing. Stupid frackin' pins! Alright, this is where I take them all out because I got sick of them. After adding the second elastic, I made sure to sew along the secondary short side and then completed my long side on which I had started, leaving a 2-inch gap so I can turn the fabric. And me having an old machine means that I forget if I have that nifty little blade to pop the threads. Nope, sure don't. Okay, here are the scissors. Don't forget to trim your corners and then turn that piece right side out. And yes, friends, I can feel you all collectively cringing when I tell you that I did not indeed iron the edges once I had turned it right side out before top stitching. No, instead I opted for the long version of wiggle the fabric into place. Yeah, I can feel it. The judgment. And this is the part where I start top stitching and realize very quickly, but not quickly enough, that I had made a grave error. Do you see it? Just wait. And I realize in 3, 2, 1. Shit. Now I have to get my seam ripper out, which means it's time for thread pulling porn. Once I'm done with that, I remember to make the 3 pleats and pin them all into place. Now, the other item that I wish I would have done that I did on all the subsequent masks is I tried to stitch the pleats going the incorrect direction, so going against the pleat, and so the very first mask is sort of uneven, because then after that what I realized I should have done the entire time was do 1 running stitch with the pleats on either side and then go around the 4 corners twice as instructed to. And there she is, one slightly lopsided but functional reusable mask. Alright folks, I want to thank you all so much for coming along with this journey with me today, as I made my friend some reusable face masks. The other thing I want to let you guys know before we completely sign off here is that I bought exactly 0 things for this project. So everything came from my room as I undid boxes and discovered exactly how much crap I have. Yeah, so hey, bonus, didn't have to spend a dime and helping a friend. If you like what you saw today, go ahead and click that like button. And if you want to see more in my adventures and what this Dimity turns into after I beat it into submission, go ahead and click that subscribe button, because I'm hoping that'll be my next video. But it may take me a little bit longer. But anyway, you'll see it eventually. I hope y'all really enjoyed this video, and let me know down in the comments if there's any resources that you found that you like for masks, if there's any resources that you found that you want to send to nurses that are N95 masks, or if you know anyone that has a stockpile that wants to get rid of it. Yes, please get rid of your stockpiles. Why do you have a stockpile of these? Send them to the hospitals, please. They need them desperately. Because at the end of the day, we need those caregivers. We need them like our lives depend on it. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Don't let this corona stuff get you too down. And I'm looking to the future when people look back on this video and go, oh, that was a rough time, but gee, I'm glad that's done. If you're here from the future and this is all over, write us a little comment and say, guess what? It's all better now. Please do. All right, guys. See y'all next time. Now today we're going to be doing... Oh, that's a good start. Alright folks, I want to thank you all You all?
What's wrong with y'all?
There's nothing wrong with y'all, but that's not what I said! Thanks. Yeah, I know, I actually thought about that too. Thanks, Canada! 2 birds, 1 stone. Huzzah!